On the 24th of March this year, the White House sent an email to all of their staff. The exact wording of that email was, "Stop using government information to bet on financial markets." Or the irony, this has been an interesting presidency so far, being that this man is also the man that has championed the act to put Nancy Pelosi's fund out of business, saying that she should no longer be able to do insider trading or anything like that, but poof, for him to do it on Polymarket, well, that's not finance. That's something different. It's only war. It's not the stock market. It's fine. So in this video, I aim to explain to you a couple of different things. First of all, exactly who? Who is doing all of this insider trading at the very top of the market? Is it just the Trump family? Or is it a bunch of other politicians as well? Now, when you have to remind your own employees to not trade on insider information, which I do regularly, you have a problem about employees trading on insider information. And today we are going to aim to find out who exactly, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to come to the conclusion that we're going to come to, but who is exactly doing the insider trading on these financial markets? You will find all of the sources for today's video in the video description, and I would really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on the video, getting this video to 2,000 likes, and of course, making sure you subscribe, because this is one of many entertaining videos we've got today. Trump built his entire political brand on draining the swamp. He also built his entire political brand on not getting involved in any more pointless Middle Eastern wars, but that was a different conversation for a different day. At the core of his debate, during the kind of application for presidency period, he was going on and on and on about corruption in Washington, politicians getting rich off insider information, and nobody at all was a bigger target than Nancy Pelosi. Trump described Nancy Pelosi as a disgusting degenerate. He said that she had the highest return, practically, of anybody in Wall Street history. And the call at the time was, please prosecute, somebody prosecute Nancy Pelosi. There was even a man that turned up at the house and assaulted the husband of Nancy. And in July of 2025, the president and the current administration proposed a bill that was approved that completely banned anybody within government participating in a financial market. So the financial market was kind of specified as the stock market, not the kind of online world of grey area markets. This bill was proposed by a man called Senator Hawley, and Trump's description of this man, having requested this bill, having shat all over Nancy, is he is a pawn and he is playing into the hands of the dirty Democrats. Because of course, that bill meant him as well, because it also kind of said that the president also can't be trading on insider information on financial markets. Kind of makes sense that the president should be on the side of the people, not on the side of Trump Incorporated. And then this year, again, completely different U-turn. The man loves the bill again. The man thinks it's amazing. And in February 2026, he was talking about how amazing this bill was and how it's going to change everything for everybody and it's going to stop all the insider trading. And he called out Nancy Pelosi by name. But the thing is, he hasn't been truthful at all. And he has continued to insider trade the absolute living crap out of every financial market you can think of. Now, since February 2026, many things have happened before, during, and after that period of time, but there have been these incidents, and these incidents have a big impact on the public's perception of how the US government is actually insider trading everything. So on April the 9th of 2025, we had our first big Trump event where you could probably find some insider trading activity happening, because on April the 9th was the day 2025 where Trump first announced all of the tariffs in the USA. The S&P lost $5 trillion in the span of 4 days. It was the largest drop in the market ever recorded, because you had a man wielding his magical wand of power. However, while all of this was going on, this is where the incident occurred, because at 9:37 a.m. on April the 9th, while all the stocks were still bleeding, Trump posted on Truth Social that it was a great time to buy DJT, and he signed that with his initials. And less than 4 hours later, after that tweet, the 90-day tariffs were all paused. The S&P went up 9.5%, Nasdaq went up 12%, Trump media stock went up 22%, congressional stock trading hit over 700 transactions in those 7 days, and Oxford Law School described it as the most far-reaching securities fraud in history. But again, forget about April. I was just, it was an accident. October the 10th, 2025, at 8:50 p.m. UTC, Trump posts 100% tariffs on all Chinese imports. Crypto market collapses. We lose just an incredible amount of money, $19 billion in leveraged positions got wiped out that day, the largest single wipeout in crypto history. On that day, Bitcoin dropped from $122,000 to $105,000, setting off the crypto bear market. Ethereum's price fell 21%, and 1.66 million traders on that day lost 100% of their account. But the thing is, somebody was ready, and starting on October the 9th, an anonymous hyperliquid account deposited, and these are very rare, an $80 million deposit, and they began shorting Bitcoin. Hours later, they deposited another $30 million and took a short position on the price of Ethereum as well. And then 30 minutes before Trump's announcement, the same account loaded up one more time. And then 1 minute before the final Trump Truth Social post went live on Truth Social, they increased their Ethereum position by $23 million extra to the short side. And the result of that, honestly, f***ing amazing. They made $192 million in 1 hour. Whatever I would pay an infinite amount of money for access to Donald Trump's phone just to ask him, because this kind of power is the ability to print endless amounts of wealth, personally and privately. But don't worry, $192 million, that's nothing. January the 2nd and January the 3rd, 2026. Do you remember? We all woke up this year and said, this year, new me. It's all going to be amazing. And then, like a couple days in, it all went really crazy. A brand new Polymarket account created 1 week earlier with zero history starts quietly buying contracts, betting that the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, is going to be removed from office before January the 31st, back when the odds were 5.5%. And I guess the question is here, who is placing these bets? Well, I'll leave it for you to decide. On January the 2nd, 5 hours before the operation was completed and Maduro had been arrested, this account decided to full port their entire crypto holdings of $20,000 into the price. Now, with the odds being 5.5%, that meant that they got a very good payout. And after Maduro was captured, that payout ended up being $436,000. The Wall Street Journal confirmed for a fact that only a small circle of Trump's advisors actually knew of anything going on in Venezuela. It's highly unlikely that money came from a random person full porting all of their wealth into something a few seconds before it's happening. And every single analysis of this situation draws one conclusion, which is it might not be Trump, but it's certainly somebody on his team. The same team that championed all these anti-corruption measures before they were elected. But okay, because we can only do one of these scams a month, we'll only do one a month, so the rest of January off and into February we go. February the 28th, hours before the US was about to strike Iran. 6 brand new Polymarket accounts were created because we don't want to raise too much red flags here. Yes shares in the US strikes Iran box on Polymarket were trading at a very low price, around 10% odds. And the thing is, this bet was huge because these people put down $1.2 million on 6 fresh accounts 5 hours before the bombs were first drops. And it's clearly insider trading. Clearly nobody just has a random $1.2 million to drop on a bet a couple of hours before it actually happens. That is so incredibly suspect. But that was February's bit of fraud. Then we move on to March, the bit of fraud that happened in March of this year, because it's fraud in this administration is through the roof, or a perceived fraud, we should say, or alleged fraud. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just an internet man. I have my opinions. And if you like my opinions, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But March the 23rd, 2026, it all kicks off again. Trump had spent the weekend threatening to bomb the Iranian power plants unless Tehran reopened the Strait of Hormuz. Markets were on edge. Oil's price was surging. And then 15 minutes before Trump posts on Truth Social that the USA is going to stop bombing Iran, the most crazy one of all of these things happens yet. And this one is f***ing crazy. $760 million of oil futures changed hands in the span of the 2 minutes before that announcement came out. That is 9 times the average. Why was there 9 times more trading volume on oil futures market for that specific 2-minute period before Trump made an announcement? There was one specific trade that raised huge alarm bells, which was 5 minutes before the Trump post went out. There was one specific order for $1.5 billion worth of oil positions, likely to the short side, which means betting the price will go down. But oil that day dropped 10, 15%. That's $200 million worth of profit on a single trade, replicating earlier successes from this administration. However, this one was actually done on a real financial market. It wasn't done in my funny internet world of money. It was actually done on a real market with real people's money, and it's not just funny internet crap. So from a regulator's point of view, this isn't somebody dabbling with Bitcoin. This is somebody really messing with the financial market. If there was a regulator that cared, of which there doesn't seem to be anymore. Anyway, this situation has been described as treason by a Nobel Prize-winning economist called Paul Krugman, specifically because this administration is exploiting everything going on for personal financial gain, as well as killing hundreds of children in Iran. So, like, public perception of Trump at this point is going just through the toilet bowl, like just bam, to the floor. But it doesn't end. These examples, these proofs, we can keep going at this all day. April the 6th to April the 8th, 2026, because again, it's one fraud a month so far this year. At least 50 brand new Polymarket accounts suddenly opened. Same old story. All of them were created on April the 7th. None of them had any prior betting history. All of them bet on the US-Iran ceasefire. One of the accounts managed to turn $13,000 into $467,000. Another made $200,000 profit when the bet odds were 8.8%. So in all likelihood, that bet had already passed. It was very unlikely it would happen. Nobody's putting serious money down on a bet like that, and yet this person did, and they were managing to cash out $200,000. The best performing account of all of these kept changing its name to Dodge Tracking. A couple of the name choices that they decided to go with were Nothing Ever Happens 9/11 and Nothing Ever Freaking Happens. But this particular cluster that was changing the names, that on its own profited $600,000. And again, we pretty much know for a fact that it likely was somebody inside the government. Even Republican Congressman Blake Moore has said it's highly unlikely these are good faith trades. It is much more likely these are insiders with access to information ahead of the public. So to get to the bottom of this, again, we have to keep digging in our research. We found that Columbia Law School and the University of Haifa had analysed 93,000 Polymarket accounts between February 2024 and February 2026. And what these people were aiming to do was look at the amount of bets that were happening that just shouldn't win. And you should know this as betting company, there are algorithms, they exist. They know that, look, if you put a bet on at 8.8% odds, the likelihood is you're going to lose pretty much 100% of the time. It's not quite 100% because you get 8.8% chance, but being realistic, that can be an anomaly. So it's very rare that these anomalous traders actually make a profit. And yet after analyzing these 50,000 wallets, they found that these cluster had managed to make $143 million profit. A normal high-frequency trader on Polymarket is winning about 50% of the time, and they're making a small amount of money. The person that took the Iran trades on Polymarket had a 93% win rate on all trades over $10,000. A complete statistical anomaly. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. The only reason anybody's laying down a lot of money is because they know the outcome, because it's already happened. And there is a man called Todd Phillips who also used to be on the advisory board of the CFTC, and he has outright said it is not possible for anybody to be getting results like this unless they are insider trading. Who had access? Somebody knew. Somebody knew every single time. There was somebody in the room. Somebody placed a trade. So who had access? The Washington Post investigated financial disclosures from over 300 congressional representatives from Trump's administration. Nearly 70 of them, which is just less than half, had access to or were investors in cryptocurrency. And of these people, of those 70 people, their crypto holdings were $193 million. It makes me feel ill inside, does this? Because I have been battling and fighting in this arena for years, and I don't have $193 million, and I would really like $193 million. And why do they get to? But it's because they get the good information. I've been trying to hook you guys up with a line to the president, and I think just me speaking how I speak about him means that that is very unlikely to happen. Because unfortunately, with an oligopoly, you don't get to win unless you are kissing the ring. But I want to cover off here some of the main characters in this administration. Pete Hegseth, JD Vance, Donald Trump. Do any of them hold crypto? Yes. JD Vance, the vice president, disclosed up to $500,000 in Bitcoin. He sits in every national security briefing. He knew about Venezuela ahead of time. He also knows it's pretty likely Trump throws him underneath the bus because this war's not going that well, so profit motive. He also knew about every single tariff position and every single decision made in government all this year, so pretty likely suspect. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. In February 2026, I discovered who Pete Hegseth was. What a bellend. He looks like the kind of guy that used to play Call of Duty with me online when I was a child and they were an adult and they were screaming words at me. And that's who Pete Hegseth kind of reminds me of. He has that kind of demeanor. Somebody that never grew up, got access to Call of Duty in real life and was like, well, I just want to play even if there isn't necessarily any outcomes worth fighting for. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Religious War in the United States, in February 2026, weeks before the Iran strikes happened on February the 28th, the Financial Times reported citing that 3 people with direct knowledge that Hegseth's broker at Morgan Stanley contacted BlackRock about making a multi-million-dollar investment in its defense and industrial active ETF, a fund holding Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, RTX, and Palantir. The inquiry was flagged internally at BlackRock. The trade only fell through because the fund wasn't yet available to Morgan Stanley clients. Basically completely outing Pete Hegseth of somebody that was attempting to make an insider trade by buying war stocks before he started a war. Senators Warren, Duckworth, and Blumenthal all issued a statement saying, if accurate, this would represent an appalling effort to profit off your knowledge of the president's plans for war, of which Pete never answered because it was an effort, but he failed. However, in addition to all of this alleged insider trading by the First Family of America and its administration, there is also another scandal breaking at the moment with regards to Donald Trump and his organization and how they run their businesses in crypto. That refers to WLFI, the World Liberty Financial Group. It's the Trump family's flagship crypto venture. The structure is very simple. The family receives 75 cents of every dollar raised from token sales. So if you want to give Trump some money, if you buy WLFI off Trump, he gets 75 pence of every dollar that you give him. It's a really good token for Trump. And of course, by December of 2025, they had raked in about $1 billion from token sales, meaning that the Trump family netted about $750 million in cash in their pocket. Add this to the couple of $200 million trades from earlier, add this to the few $75 million ones here and there, and we quickly can now definitely confirm Trump is a billionaire. That was actually up for debate in the 2016 presidency, if you remember. It's not up for debate anymore. So just understand at this point, Trump's already cashed out $750 million from WLFI. Now, on April the 9th, 2026, WLFI deposited 5 billion tokens worth about $394 million into a DeFi lending protocol called Dolomite. On Dolomite, they were able to withdraw about $75 million of USDC, and over $40 million of that was immediately sent to Coinbase and cashed out to a bank account, meaning that the Trump family effectively took $750 million from token sales, then took their remaining tokens, used them in a loan situation, so they didn't sell them. They just took a giant loan against all of their tokens, which were on paper worth $394 million, and they got a loan for $75 million because it means they didn't have to sell. But when they took that loan, they completely drained the liquidity pool, effectively meaning that WLFI has no secondary market value. That transaction pushed Dolomite's USDC utilization to 100%. Every ordinary user of Dolomite who had been staking and earning WLFI tokens or USD tokens by contributing to this economy had effectively been rugged because the company WLFI took all of the money out of that pool. So when you deposit into these pools, typically you can do one-sided transactions. You either deposit a bunch of dollars and you'll earn interest in WLFI, or you deposit a bunch of WLFI and you earn a bunch of interest in dollars. But if you deposited both and you were trying to get maximum interest, you lost everything. But it gets even worse than this. One of the advisors to WLFI is one of the co-founders of Dolomite, meaning that likely Dolomite worked with WLFI to extract $75 million of their users' funds. And I'm going to interject here for a second as well and say, You know that CZ is having a beef on Twitter with the guy that owns OKX about whether he's divorced his wife or not. We are very clearly in a bear market. This is the best time to get involved in the crypto world. And if you've made it this far into the video, it would be my suggestion that you click the top link in today's video description and you fill out that type form. That type form will mean that you get a call of one of my lovely members of staff at Crypto Saving Expert, and we want to help you motor through the next bull market with as much profit as possible. If you sign up on that form, what we're doing at the moment is we're running a 12-week intensive training course where I'm going to teach you a profitable strategy and they're going to teach you it as well. It means one-to-one training and education. So if you want to get involved, fill out the form, video description. Thank you very much. Drop a like and let's continue. Because this WLFI token reminds me so very much of what went on with FTT just before all of that collapsed. Now, this is where it gets pretty interesting as well. I could draw a couple points that are in my brain here, such as FTT, Sam Bankman-Fried. Is he going to get pardoned? Maybe Sam Bankman-Fried should get pardoned. Look, if Trump is going to do the exact same crime here, and because FTT's problem was a severe lack of liquidity. So when the price went down, nobody wanted to buy it anymore, which meant the token was effectively valueless. WLFI is in that same point right now because Trump sucked all of that money out himself and effectively rugged his own token. But the only reason that FTX collapsed is because they used their own token as collateral in loans. And when they realized that actually there wasn't any collateral there, that's when it all collapsed. And this is effectively what they've done by removing that collateral. There is no market support there for WLFI. So expect that this market is not done going down yet. We will still get a big down. And another thought that we can draw on, that's probably worse, to be fair, than the FTX comparison would be that of Justin Sun. Now, Justin Sun, a man that I respect, a man that is born on my birthday, and a man that has been in crypto for many, many years. He is the founder of Tron Network. He is a multi-billionaire. He's probably the most successful insider trader of all time that has never spent any time in prison. He's a very admirable man. He did it in a smart way. Made friends with the right people at the right time in the right place and made billions of dollars. Big up Justin. But anyway, Justin is also WLFI's single largest investor. And you'd think he would want to maintain a very good relationship with the President of the United States, which is why he is WLFI's single largest investor, because he has done some questionable things in the eyes of everybody. He put tens of millions of dollars into this project. But this week, he accused WLFI of building a backdoor into their system that allowed them to scam investors. Basically, this backdoor function allows anybody within WLFI to freeze your tokens on their blockchain at any time. And he also said the team at WLFI is treating their users like a personal ATM. And their response, this is where you judge someone. So you judge someone by call and response. And WLFI's response to this was disgraceful, and they are cretinous, disgusting people. They froze $107 million of Justin Sun's money. Now, I don't need to stick up for Justin. Justin's a billionaire. He can look after himself. But they stole $107 million of Justin Sun's money and filed a lawsuit against Justin Sun for speaking out against them. The WLFI token is now down 76% from its all-time high. It's trading around 7 cents. The people who believed in the project are underwater. Trump's biggest supporters are underwater. Everybody that gave Trump money in the past few years is underwater. He reminds me of a few people that owe me a lot of money. If you're one of those people, give me a call. Give me it back. Thank you. And unfortunately for us, the Economist throughout this period of time has been describing crypto as the ultimate swamp asset under Trump. The man who promised to build us a castle has built us a swamp. Not only that, he cleared the swamp of any money by withdrawing it himself, which is great, you know, if you're going to marry into the family. But unfortunately for most of us, that's not the case. So here's the thing. Trump does look great on paper. The way he speaks sometimes for crypto, for finance, it sounds great. Bitcoin did hit $126,000 under his administration, a new all-time high, higher than it's ever been before. And he calls himself the crypto president. He signed in the Genius Act. He did good things. He created a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the USA. But Bitcoin has now gone down 44% since that time. Altcoins are down 40 to 60%. $15.7 billion of leveraged positions were liquidated in a span of just a few days. 1.66 million retail traders got wiped out in just one day. The chaos doesn't hurt Trump. He profits from it because he understands that the only way to stay in charge here is martial law. And that's quite unlikely, being it's the United States of America, which means that he likely has a successor, which likely means it's payday and it's time to cash in. I think this puts crypto in a much better and more attractive place to invest in, because I would always much rather buy an asset that people don't like than like, because if you're buying it when people like it, it means that somebody's selling it to you and you don't want to be that guy. And the thing is, with regards to WLFI, most of their treasury is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin, so they ultimately don't care about their token. They're a Bitcoin treasury company, like so many of them, and as long as Bitcoin dominance is increasing and altcoins are falling, the objective is being achieved, even if Bitcoin's price is going down. The goal here is Bitcoin domination for this administration. They didn't specify in which way they intended on going about it. Unfortunately, it appears that Bitcoin domination by destruction of the entire everything else in that industry. And that's sad, and I hope that doesn't stay the case. The money that they're moving out of the coins is not incompetence, it's deliberate extraction, it's purposeful, it's with intent. The Polymarket betting ahead of time just shows a clear understanding that the administration understands that it's corrupt and they just don't care. And ultimately, the blockchain shows everything. The blockchains are public. All the links and information that you will find referenced in this video, you will find linked in the video description. Ultimately, what we have uncovered here is a large amount of insider trading going on inside the heart of the US government. But if you found this interesting, guys, I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video. So overall, it's very clear to me. Trump's administration seemingly is corrupt. We kind of knew that already. The acts that they've put in for the Bitcoin and crypto industry were nothing more than to pump up the price so that they could extract, because they likely bought ahead of time. They have no clear goals for the industry. They don't care about the industry. They're there to extract from the industry, because as long as they're profitable, they don't care. With all that being said, what do we expect from Bitcoin? We'll see, but I'd really appreciate it, guys, if you would drop a like on this video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've been Jordan. I run this YouTube channel, and you should subscribe. See you in a bit, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'm back to YouTube anyway. I know it's been a while, but thought we'd go in with a meaty one. See you in a bit. Deuces.